These two firefighters are insane. A massive wildfire broke out in the forest. But instead of putting it out, they started setting fires in untouched areas. The bigger the flames got, the more excited they seemed. The next day, they set fire to more trees, and cut them down so they'd burn faster. And the reason they were doing all this, it was to put out the fire more effectively. Turns out, they had already dug a fire break in advance and cleared the surrounding flammable materials. When the fires they started met the wildfire, they burned out because there was nothing left to fuel the flames. Sure enough, not long after, the wildfire was extinguished. The next day, another wildfire broke out in a neighboring town. This time their mission was to protect a 2,000-year-old ancient tree. They used the same method, and once again, the wildfire was successfully put out. Afterward, they happily took photos in front of the ancient tree. But who would have thought that this would become their last group photo? Another forest fire caused by lightning broke out. As usual, they began digging fire breaks and setting up fear lines. But this time the captain realized how serious the situation was. He immediately ordered everyone to speed up, and sent Jack to the mountaintop to monitor wind directions. Jack had recently been bitten by a snake and hadn't fully recovered. What the captain didn't expect was that the fear line they had spent hours building would be mistaken for wildfire and extinguished by planes dropping water. The captain was furious. They had to dig a new fear line immediately because the wet fear line couldn't be ignited again. To make matters worse, Jack suddenly noticed that the wind had shifted in their direction, and the fire was spreading toward them at an alarming rate. The captain ordered Jack to retreat immediately, but the team didn't have time to escape. The fire had already surrounded them. With no other choice, the captain ordered them to deploy fire shelters on the spot, but the flames were too intense, and soon they were completely engulfed by fire. The captain kept calling for planes to drop water on their location, but the fire was so massive that the planes couldn't pinpoint where they were. They flew overhead and left, taking with them the team's last hope of survival. Jack, who had escaped, heard the captain's desperate cries through the radio. He was anxious but powerless to help. He knew his teammates must be in unimaginable danger.